Yo, what's up, everyone?
Yo, yo.
What's good with you, man?
5-0, baby.
Oh, 5-0. Okay. Yeah. For our fans who don't know, those who's joining for like the first time, Nicholas is a huge Atlanta Falcons fan.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't insult me like that, man.
Nicholas is
Oh,
a huge Eagles fan. They're finally doing good for once. Um, and he's
we're
excited
all
about it.
don't do that. Yeah, I mean, don't do that now. We're always
I bet.
competitive. We're always competitive.
Okay, don't worry. We won't be talking about for this episode the Eagles that much. Just an FYI, Saints play the Eagles this year. Just saying.
We
So
do not. We don't play, right?
yeah, we do. We play this year.
We do.
Yeah, and you're a little delayed in your mic.
Ah. Oh wow.
Yep. Yep. One
All right,
moment while
hold on.
Nicholas
I'm logging out. I'm
works
logging
his
back in.
technical difficulties live. Maybe not show up a minute ahead of time. Now he's frozen.
What about now?
Yeah, sounds good. Say it again.
Is that better?
Say it
Still,
one more time.
it's still a little bit of a delay, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit. We'll live with it. Fuck it.
No, because I'm gonna be
Oh,
talking a lot. It's gonna be weird. I'll be right back.
all right. So while Nicholas is dealing with his technical difficulties while I'm here, if you haven't seen by my shirt, we're going to be talking about a lot of race-based stuff today. So thank you guys for joining. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe so you can kind of help us out grow this kind of channel up a little bit. So yeah, without further ado, that's Nicholas, and is your shit better?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I think we're good. We're good.
Finally, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I told a couple of my colleagues that we'll be doing this tonight. Some of
Yep.
your
I told a few
colleagues,
people.
yeah, I told a few people. So we'll see if they show up and show out for us. Um, until then, I don't know. Did you get the chance to see the thumbnail that I put for this today, Nicholas?
I like it.
Did you see it though? You saw
Yeah, I saw it. That's why I gave you a thumbs up.
Oh, I didn't see the thumbs up. But yeah, so we tried to do this last week, and I was very tired, and I was like, man, I've had a rough week. I kind of want to go to bed, and of course, it always sucks when I say it because Nicholas has 3 kids and a full-time job.
You have no excuses at all. I'll work off like 4 hours of sleep a night. Get out of
Whatever,
here, man.
whatever. I like my sleep. I love my life. Do things on my term. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's all right.
Okay.
I'm waiting. Your time is coming.
It will, unfortunately. Hopefully by then I'll be able to afford maids. And some help around the house. So they can stay up all night and that. Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys for joining. We are 5 minutes in now. Wanted to have this conversation last week when it was more fresh, but it's still kind of fresh now. If you get to see our thumbnail, you know we're talking about Kanye to the West, right? Formerly known as Kanye West, now he goes by Ye.
Yay, man.
And yay, whatever. Who cares? All right. That just shows you how much I care about this guy right now. Can you believe I bought his first 3 albums? First 3 albums.
Yeah, everybody did.
Yeah. I bought his albums. Love this guy.
I bought all the way up to My Dark and Twisted Fantasy.
Really? So that was the one that people were trying to get me on, and I was like, I can't listen to a whole album of autotune. But a lot of people says it's good. So I take their word for it. But yeah, he took a huge man to see our heroes fall. Right. So
It's something about them Kardashians, man.
you blaming the Kardashians?
Look at Lamar Odom.
Oh my god. Oh.
Look at Kanye now.
Yeah. Well, Pete Davis still seems okay. So we'll see.
He wasn't in it long enough.
He didn't have. It wasn't enough to have him go try.
If you don't fall in love, you know what I mean. It's something about like once you get like real feelings for them, you're just like they're almost as bad as Erica Badu, or no, they're probably worse
Oh,
than Erica Badu. They ruin
tell me
people.
about
Eric,
Erica Badu.
oh, you remember Andre 3000? He got weird
Oh,
after dating her. Comment got weird. The man was
well.
with the corduroy pants and the crochet sweaters and hats, and he released that
How did Andre
album.
3000 get weird?
Well, he
How
was
did that?
already kind of a weird guy, but it was
Yeah,
like with her, it just, you know what I mean. Him not so much probably, right? Because
yeah,
he's pretty eccentric guy, but Common,
yeah,
yeah, he Common even rapped about it. Remember that song, The Corner,
yeah.
off his album
Oh
B, I think it was The
man,
Corner, or
that
whatever, or it might have been
that's from his
another
album,
song
The
or whatever.
B. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he was pretty much like they said the something in the crochet sweaters was whack, but now I'm back. You know what I mean? Like, because he released that album Electric Circus, and it was just like everybody was like, "What's wrong? What happened to you?"
It was like with me when I liked the Lupe Fiasco a lot, and he came out with Lasers, and then he did a song for Twilight, and I'm like,
The movie?
the movie, yes, the actual movie, and I was like, I think I'm done. It was a good run. It was a good run. All right, so if you guys have been paying attention the last couple of weeks, Kanye has made headlines again, and usually when it's Kanye make headlines, it's usually for nothing good. Um, and if you peeped our thumbnail, our super sweet thumbnail, which I took all but 2 seconds to create, I was gonna make a nice collage thumbnail of everything we're gonna talk about, but I saw this, I'm like, no, this has got to be it.
No, that was good.
Yeah. Um, and if you see my shirt, we're gonna be talking lots and lots and lots of race-based talk today. Thank you, sir. You say so these are for the birds? Oh, come on. Whatever. I'm trying to drop people knowledge here, and you're like, check out my Eagle shirt. Guy, I hope we beat you. I hope my team beats you, even though I'm pretty sure I'm not going to watch the game and we'll probably lose that game. Oh my god, I like doing her stuff.
But yeah, we've come a long
yeah.
way. Remember, this is the guy. This is the man who said, "George Bush hates black people." We've gone to from that being Mr. Pro-Black to whatever this is.
Yeah, there was a funny meme about that one where like he showed him in his White Lives shirt and shows George Bush like laughing on the side. That could have been our thumbnail for this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts, right? That he would go from when you get on, you're just gonna leave your ass for a white girl, doing exactly that thing with Kim Kardashian, and then all he's marrying or dating going on is white women. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, right? Right, love is love, but
I don't care about that. But you don't have to change your entire mindset.
Yeah, well, it shows his mindset, and mind you, you have to remember this guy's bipolar, right? He's going to go through episodes, right? It's up to us to determine if we support that or not, right? There's another very funny comedian. Her name is Taylor Tomlin, right? And she actually has a whole special. I think it's called "Look at You Now" or "Look at Me Now" or something like that, where she talks about how she found out she was bipolar and what she had to do to kind of overcome that, right? So, I mean, this guy is mentally ill, and we all know that, and we need to stop empowering and enabling this BS. Oh, by the way, we have a couple of viewers. Feel free to
What's up, guys?
type in. I want to hear your thoughts.
No, it's but funny, you know what? I can't just say like, oh, he's mentally ill. It's more than that, right? He's kind of using his. I feel like he's using his so-called artistic genius as a crutch, right? Yeah. It's like, I'm so smart. I'm such a genius. I think out of the box. Oh, I'm going to send this message and white lives and say white lives matter with this shirt. Yeah. And people, and then when people are outraged, I'll say, well, you don't get it because you're not thinking on my plane of existence or whatever thing that he tries to say, right? But it's like, you're trying so hard to think out of the box, but and then the people who will come back and like are outraged by it, he'll say that, oh, you're tearing another black man down. this is this is this is from an article that I read from his response to how people were outraged about what happened.
Yeah.
It's like, you're tearing another black man down. You're not afraid to tear me down, but where were you when I was out here, talking about not being able to see my kids during this divorce?
And
And
I
it's
also think
like,
you have bipolar. And
well,
you're not
no,
trying to
but
fix it.
people were with you until you was sitting there across from Donald Trump, calling him the homie and all this other
Yeah.
stuff, or just making all these outrageous
And some people are still
comments.
with you.
You
How
had
much more
us,
do you want me to endure?
you know what I mean?
Like,
But can't ride with you, man. Can't do it.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
We know, obviously, yes, all lives matter. We know that. There's a reason why we have to speak up for certain groups, because throughout history, they've made it's they've made sure that those lives don't matter as much. You can go back to
yeah,
the Declaration of Independence, where they put in Thomas Jefferson tried to put in a clause
yep,
against slavery. Our founding fathers took that out, right?
yep,
You had the same man who tried to put something in there against slavery, also owning hundreds of slaves as well, and
yep,
having an affair with a slave. You know
yep.
what I mean? You fast forward to, they only wanted to say we were 3/5 of a person so
Mm,
that they could continue selling us. And then when we got the right, when we were freed, our us being 3/5 of a person, meaning our vote didn't count as much. It
yep,
just goes on and on and on, right? So yeah, we know all lives matter, but it's time to emphasize that
yeah,
Black Lives Matter, because
yeah.
throughout
Well,
history they have
yeah.
it.
And you said something really like telling there when you say, "Yeah, we know Black Lives Matter, but like we know all lives matter." When Kanye West did this, and look, he's obviously doing this for attention. Like, there's no genius into this. Just like we see who you're with, right? We know what you're trying to do. We've seen how you vote, right? The dude literally ran for president to try to take away the black vote, right? Um, that actually happened, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm with you as well. Like, and you made up a good point about the All Lives Matter people, because where were they when this shirt came out? Where were they? You know, Kanye West says Black Lives. We say Black Lives Matter. Oh, all lives matter. Blah 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 blah. And I'll be honest with you, when the All Lives Matter thing came out, I I was naive to be kind of on their side in the sense that, well, I mean, come on, think as an engineer, Black lives are the subject of all lives, so of course all lives matter. But that's not the reason why they're saying it, right? People always will always find some way to justify their bigotry, their racism, right? That's why that thin blue line is such a thing with the flag,
Yep.
right? People hide behind um, like the flag, behind our troops, they behind everything, and they're not. And it's unfortunate that's the case, right? Again, here's Kanye West. We know he's just doing it for the attention, for the clout, right? But where's those All Lives Matter people now, right? Nowhere to be seen. Here's one more thing that I have that's a problem with White Lives Matter, right? If you don't know about Nicholas's freaking texting during a live session, it's fine.
Dude,
Here's
don't get me started on you. But
no, no. Here's my problem with White Lives Matter, though. Right here. This is what should be everyone's problem. Like when someone says White Lives Matter, I just opened up my wallet and just brought out some bills. Right? It's in my current wallet. Right? White guy. It's a $1 bill. Right? Alexander Hamilton, another white person. $10.
oh, let's see how much money he got in his wallet. Let's see.
Andrew Jackson, white guy.
All right.
We know, and this is the other two that I have in my wallet.
Oh, I'm about
If
to
you're
say
actually
that it. That
that
it.
it. We use cards. Or I ain't got it today. I ain't got it today. I don't know if that was Kevin Hart. But yeah, we know White Lives Matter. It's all on our money, right? If you go to dismissal, like take a walk around DC, all those statues are mostly of white men, and there's MLK, right? We know, right?
I mean, go in the Capitol building. You know what I'm saying? We had to fight to get somebody in there.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're still in the Capitol building. I think there's still Confederate statues there as well.
That's what I'm saying.
No way a black man will try to tear down America and they'll still honor him with a statue. Or any person of color, right?
Only in America. And who's standing out there with Kanye, of course, during all this? Candace Owens. I said my first thought when I saw that picture, I was like, they got to be sleeping together. That was literally the first thing I thought.
You think you'll go for her? Well, I'm not sure about that.
But I think she's married, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah, I mean, I try not to.
But then again, when has that stopped any celebrity from doing what they wanted?
That's true. Like one of them who was in the White House just likes to grab him by the you know what, because he haven't good, right? It's super frustrating to kind of. We're in 2022, about to be 2023 in a couple of years, and we're still talking about this. And I think the problem people like these guys like Kanye West and the people that blindly follow him is because they think they're too smart for their good. I think I really wish cancel culture was a real thing because I would love to cancel the word genius. Like strike it from the dictionary. We need to stop promoting people and thinking that they're geniuses because they make dumb shit. Fucking what's his name? Elon Musk, right? We all label him a genius, right? This dude does like some of the dumbest shit.
Technically, he's a genius as far as technology is
not
concerned.
Even that. Like he just knows when to buy in. Like who's the founder of Tesla? Not Elon, right? We don't know that. People don't know that he's not the founder of Tesla. He just bought in. The Tesla's number one like income source are carbon credits, not their cars. But carbon credits that they're selling to other companies, right? That's their number one source of income, right? And I'm not going to say they don't have nice cars. They have great cars. I wouldn't buy them because I don't want to inflate a guy's ego. And I think when you just cancel the word genius, we might have to so people can stop using it as a crutch to say whenever they do something stupid, well, you just don't understand my genius. Fuck up, right?
I think that's all you can do. But I mean, for some of these guys, like I'm sure he won't miss it, but you won't see me wearing any of this so-called, Yeezy, Gapper shoes. I love my sneakers, man, but
I think his shoes are ugly as fuck. Like the latest one. I'm sorry. What the fuck?
Yeah, they are pretty ugly, man.
What the fuck? And that's the problem with you thinking you're a genius, right? You don't know how to learn from mistakes because you don't think you make mistakes, right? That's what drives him. He thinks he's a genius, so he doesn't make mistakes, right? He just quit his Gap deal, right? He's gonna try to be the producer of himself and not going through a mainstream. Remember a couple of years ago, you ain't got the answers, Sway.
That wasn't a couple of years ago, dude. That was like 10 years ago. Yeah, Sway had the freaking answer. Idiot.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to tell him to go independent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but he's too busy, I was gonna say something very foul, but not today. Not today. We have a couple of new people. In, so I'll try to hold it back.
You might as well let them know who you really are.
Don't know. You want to know who I really am? Watch more Talking Podcast Show. Subscribe on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We're everywhere. We're all there. And Twitch.
Our dead ass Twitch account. Yes.
Man, we gotta talk video games. I was gonna tangent and talk about video games, but we're not gonna do this.
Might do it for a half second, but yeah,
yeah.
But speaking of anything Kanye, like I am not supporting anything. No. Matter of fact, anything Kardashian, I don't support either. You know what I'm saying? Not gonna find me spending my dollars on that shit. I'm sure they don't miss it. They're already billionaires, but that's really the only thing that people like that understand. Like people stop buying their products, they might, think twice. But there's too many people that follow them blindly to, wherever they want to go. Or some people just don't care because they say, separate the art from the man. You know what I mean?
And look, and sometimes you have to, right? In terms of, I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson, his music, right? Um, Definitely had my jokes when he was around, but was a big fan of his music, right? But man who doesn't have a childhood hanging around with these kids, in their bed and whatever, like I can't just say no to that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, like cognitive dissonance is the key, but the level of cognitive dissonance you need to take to support this man, though, like I am sorry, how,
yeah.
why, you know, why? Oh man, I yeah,
But
so
he'll tell you that you're just, you're a lamb because you're thinking the way they want you to think by going
yeah,
against what he says.
and you're making them sound right too with your stupidity as well. It's like
Oh
they're trying to
man.
get you to think for you. Like, yeah, I mean, this guy is just a mess, and he needs help, and he's probably not going to get it. But whatever. All right, moving on to black people that are tokens and are ashamed to the whole race. Herschel Walker, right? Oh my God. So
So
I
what happened
remember.
with him? Because I haven't even been following.
Oh, Herschel Walker is a mess, and he probably should be last on our topic list, but it's fine. So, as you know, Herschel Walker, all-time great American football player, right? Um, that's kind of what he was known for. Um, and since certain people aren't predictable, when Reverend Warnock won the Senate race, of course they're going to get Herschel Walker to help join run this race. And let me tell you something. This guy is almost as unqualified to be senator as like Trump was to be president, right? Just super, super I wouldn't say underqualified. Unqualified. Just does not have no business being in that area. Same with Tommy Tuberville, which we'll talk about later in a few minutes. But yeah, so here's the story with him, right? Obviously, he's being used as a token, right?
Yeah.
To justify how people think, and I hope he gets his ass whipped uh, during the incoming elections, right? So this is what he did. You know how the Republican Party is extremely pro-life, right?
Yes.
So anti-abortion, very pro-life, and they brag about saving babies and whatnot. Well, apparently, it's come out that Herschel Walker paid for a woman's abortion, right? That's why I'm kind of putting him on this podcast. Apparently, he paid for a woman's abortion. He tried to deny it. His son came out and said, "No, that's bullshit. It likely happened," right? And then he's also come out and say, "Well, if it is a big deal, or if this did happen, then I'm not ashamed of it, or it's not a big deal." And let me fucking tell you
But you're
something.
supposed to be pro-life.
Yeah, but let me fucking tell you something. Like, this guy is just probably it shows the hypocrisy of like that side of the political spectrum, right? And whenever we talk about diversity or hiring just more diverse candidates, somehow the um the topic of how qualified they are um, to be in that role, right? What it should be a meritocracy, right? About your merits, right? Well, where are those people now about Herschel Walker, right? Again, just like when Kanye West was like, "Oh, white lives matter," where are y'all lives matter people? Whenever an African American or a person of color moves up in the corporate ranks or gets hired, oh, you get questioned, right? Why? Why? No, it should be about meritocracy, not the color of your skin. Well, obviously, the,
Check the comments. I like what Brian said. I didn't leave the Republican Party. They left me. I like that. Good.
Brian Beatty, man, this
Bailey.
guy.
Wait. I'm Bailey.
Thank you, Beatty. Yeah, no, my boy Louisiana, he showed up before. Yeah, so the Herschel Walker just it's really unfortunate to see, right? it's extremely unfortunate to see that like they're gonna put this up, and he's their token. Essentially, he's their token, right? So that's kind of what it's like to be a black man in America. You don't want to be used advantage of while you're not being thought equal as the same, or not thought as equal, right? It's unfortunate. It's sad but true.
Yeah.
Sad but very, very true. Thank
I
you, Brian, for
mean, I've
contributing.
heard the man. I've heard the man talk. Um,
Apparently lied about going to
so
college.
I'm not sure how he got as far as he did. I mean, obviously, I'm sure like playing football and making the right friends helped. But I've also listened to some interviews. So it's I heard him talk. He sounded terrible, right?
Mm.
But then I listened to some of the interviews, and it's like, is he kind of playing some sort of game where he wants people to think that he's not that smart, when he actually has like some sort of an agenda? Because in one of the interviews I heard, it was like, this guy might not be as dumb as we thought. You know what I mean?
He didn't
But
let you know. Yeah.
he, yeah, I mean, again, like, black people are not a monolith, like, right? Like, we don't all think the same. There are definitely some conservative black people out there, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
But allowing yourself to be used in this way, it's just not it's not a good look for you, right? It's not a good look for
Yeah.
your image, and you're running on really on one idea, which is being pro-life.
Yeah.
You got to have more to your platform than that, and I haven't really
Well,
heard that much from him. You know
yeah.
what I
Well,
mean?
their idea
He
is,
did. I will say that he did have some decent answers to questions concerning like critical race theory and things of that nature. Um, Better than I thought he would.
wow.
But nothing that would make me personally vote for him.
Yeah. No. I think they do a good job, like, of gaslighting. And what frustrates me most about the situation is that when it comes to the concept of race, the Democrats are nowhere near, or they're not great when it comes to it, right? They focus on things being performative, right?
Of
But the
course,
Republican
that's why
Party
we have
is,
Juneteenth.
yeah, that's why we have Juneteenth. That's why instead of passing bills that will help ease police brutality, right? Um, we they don't do that. But I mean
Well, I mean,
that's a topic.
yeah, I don't think there's enough of a majority to pass that type of legislation at this point. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
they're just
yeah,
working to block each other at this point.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it is, right? And yeah, we won't go down that spiral, right? But it's really just unfortunate that, like, they're so obviously being used, and it's bad on all of us. It's bad on all of us, right?
It is.
What I was gonna say, um, our boy, I'm gonna push this up again.
Now, your man Beatty's making some good points, especially
Yeah, it's the
about
JP
the
is gonna solve.
tokens and the pseudo two-party system. Because I mean,
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely right, absolutely right. No, so, like, Condoleezza Rice, Republican, right? General Colin Powell, Republican, right?
Mhm.
These are actually very smart, very educated, very capable and competent people, but that's not who they support. That's not who they look up to. Those aren't their heroes, right? So let's face it, their heroes is of a certain color, right? That's how all it'll ever be. And it reminds me of this Joker scene, right? Where, you know, I let this one thing happen, right? No one pays attention, but something else happens, right? Everyone loses their mind. Look at what's his face. Um, what's his? Oh God, it was Ariel from Little Mermaid, right? You know how they made her black? I think her name is Haley Beatty. Was it Haley Bailey? Right? Yeah, she is playing Ariel, Little Mermaid, and people lost their shit on it.
Oh man, yeah, I
So
don't even
yeah,
want to get started on that again.
yeah, but yeah, That is Herschel Walker and a dipshit. So
Okay.
I'm doing multiple things at a time here.
To sum it all up.
Herschel Walker sucks. We suck at how we suck at race in America. We're so busy acting like we're good instead of trying to be good to others, right? Yeah, it's unfortunate. All right, let's move on to the next topic. We're already halfway through. Have you seen? I think I sent you this video. Do you know who Gary Chambers is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary Chambers is an activist. What he's known for was he went viral on Instagram when they were trying to get the Lee High School. So Lee High School, Robert E. Lee High School was a high school in Louisiana, right? They actually changed the name to what is it? What did they change it to? Oh, what up, Jacob? Oh, that must be his wife, Alex. The whole Gold Dogs thing. Alex is a Georgia Bulldogs fan. Nobody's perfect.
Oh, respect. Hey, man. Respect.
I'm sorry. They're really a strong team too. Back to us. So, all right. Where was I? I'm gonna play a video for you guys in a second.
Talking about
Yeah, but let's talk about Gary Chambers for a minute. So Gary Chambers is a political activist, right? He's best known for challenging the Louisiana Supreme Court system, right? What the hell am I saying? The Louisiana School Board, right? To get the name Lee High School changed. Now, this is before the George Floyd situation, right? Happened. And he was listening to the board, right? And one of the women, there was a few people kind of talking, trying to get this name changed. One of the women wasn't even paying attention. She was on her phone shopping on Amazon, and someone recorded it, right? So Gary Chambers comes up and says, we know you don't care about this. This is you, Connie, right here. I got you on camera, shopping while we're talking about Robert E. Lee, right? She eventually, years retired, resigns months later or years later. Actually, I think she retired this year. But that's who Gary Chambers is, right? He also ran for U.S. Congressman and U.S. Senator, right? He's running for U.S. Senator now. So he posted this video that I'm about to show you guys on Instagram, and it's pretty hilarious. It's of the Louisiana Senator Kennedy, who he's running against. So I'm going to play this video.
Oh, Lord.
A crackhead. See how that works out for you. I came in one day and the cocaine was there. Next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead.
It would be cheaper to buy cocaine and just run everywhere. Call a crackhead.
Why don't I have a right in the privacy of my home with my spouse to take cocaine?
Go to Chambers.
Yeah. Guy, it was Gary Chambers. So let's get into this.
Let's just look at the last clip. The man says, "Why don't I have a right with my spouse to do cocaine?"
You know what the funny part is?
Mind you, Black people have been wondering why we can't smoke a little weed in our house forever, for decades.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody, right? Not cocaine.
No. So here's the funny thing, right? He talks about cocaine, right? And for those conspiracy buffs, I came up with a conspiracy, right? Just following this video, right? And if you believe in a guy named Q who wants to help you overtake the government, who thinks everyone's a lie, whatever, then you'll probably believe my little conspiracy theory here. So, do you know who Madison Cawthorn is?
I do not.
He's one of very many senators, or rather, very many congressmen, youngest congressman elected after AOC got elected, and he already got the boot. Little heads up about who has Madison Cawthorn soon to be former congressman, talked about Enjoy on how he visited Hitler's like estate or Hitler's little like cabin or whatever, and he was like, oh, took a picture by the Mein Kampf or whatever crap, the Führer. That's what he said, right? What else does this fool do? He just made a lot of racially disparaging remarks, and Republicans hated him, right? Because the guy was just a loose cannon, right? He was a diehard Trump supporter. Anyway, my buddy Jacob comes in and corrects
Called
me.
it the home of the Führer.
The home of the Führer. My buddy Jacob, he's the Will Actually guy.
No, like, you're the Will Actually guy. I guess I know why y'all are friends.
Yeah, I was about to say, which is funny because in my group I'm the Will Actually guy. So yeah, but that's who he is as a human being. Like he called it like the home of the Führer, as what Jake would said. So he also came out and says, some fun facts here. The book means my struggle. Struggle my ass. Man, I gotta get through the story real quick. So we know who Madison Cawthorn is, right? And he's a douche, and Republicans hate him. So anyway, he went on a podcast, and he literally talked about how there's a 70-year-old congressman that he invited to have a sex orgy at his house and do cocaine right in front of him, right? Yeah. Here's a good one. Republicans ousted him because he implied they were having orgies, not because he was racist.
Man, Jacob got the 411 on this.
Yeah, that's true. He got fired. Well, he got primaried out of his Congress district in I think North Carolina, one of the Carolinas, I believe. When he said this, right? Not because of all the racist shit he said, as Jake pointed out, but as just him being like just calling the shit out. And here's Senator Kennedy talking about cocaine and crap. It just makes me wonder, does he do cocaine? Does Senator Kennedy do cocaine and have like sex orgies at his house? Because he is 70 years old. I'm just saying. Right.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out why we had to go from
conspiracy.
Why do we have to go from like, from not funding the cops to calling a crackhead? I mean, it has to be some middle ground here, right?
No, look, this is
a little strategy little extra
that was used for years, right, to kind of paint a certain demographic of people, like a crackhead, a certain color, right? It was done in the 80s, right? About that person that doesn't want to work. Right? Or this would be a perfect segue to our next topic, Tommy Tuberville. Right? Another guy who didn't get anything didn't get his Senate seat on being on what he knows. He's a former football player, won a national championship with Auburn. And he said some racist shit this week. Do you want to go in and get on that?
Tell him what they said. What he said, man.
So what Tommy Tuberville said was, so he was at a Trump rally, and he made a comment about like how the crime is bad and Democrats have the majority and how they can fix it if they want to. Not really. But then again, they do need to be doing more. I can go on for days about Democrats, but
you can say that on any side.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Democrats have their own unique set of problems. That's why I don't like comparing the two of them like side by side.
Yeah.
Because they have a unique set of problems that's not Republican. Anyway, Tommy Tuberville, Republican senator from Alabama, won the national championship. Peace out, Brian. So won national championship with Alabama. I think he won it with Cam Newton, I think, too. I think that was that. I think that's when he won a championship with Cam Newton. Anyway, he goes up, he's at this Trump rally, and they're talking about what were they talking about at this Trump rally? Oh yes, they're talking about violent crime, right?
You sent me a video. You sent the video on that too, right? You have the video on that?
Yeah, I can't play it here because I couldn't download it. Unfortunately,
Okay.
got to be able to download it. I could try. I could probably play it through through screen share, but I won't be able to do it. Next time I'll try to get that video downloaded for you guys. But anyway, so he said during his this speech that like crime is up. Like think like the Democrats, they're not anti-crime, they're pro-crime, or they're not weak on crime, they're pro-crime is what he said. He also said one other thing. He said, and some of these people who are on like they want to give everyone this like Medicare and stuff, and some of these people that are on these I'm gonna get back to that in a second.
Thank you, Jacob, because that did not sound right at all when he said that. But I was gonna let him go.
I thought he wanted with him.
No.
Yeah. Long story short, free handouts. He implied that black people they want to give black people free handouts, essentially, right? That's essentially
right. But he also said that the descendants of slaves are criminals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he made a lot of comments, and so not only is it horrible what he said, but let's look at like the responses from figures in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Some of them said, "I wouldn't have phrased it that way."
Oh my God.
Oh, so you agree, but you wouldn't have said it that way. Okay. Or they're just making no comment, or they try to make like a slightly different point, but kind of making the same point. This is why black people aren't messing with the Republican Party. It's stuff like this because there's so many of them.
There are a couple of black people messing with the Republican Party. It's unfortunate.
I mean? There are some. I mean, if it's in my opinion, like it's a horrible time to say you're a conservative because you immediately get lumped in with the folks who are thinking and saying these things. How can you align yourself with the group of people who has no interest in defending you or standing up for you at all, who during their campaign trail are saying stuff like this?
Yeah. You're their tokens.
This is who you align yourself with, right?
You're their tokens.
I mean, at least being an independent. My God.
Yeah, exactly. I know a lot of Republicans that used to be Republicans, are now independent, right? And you can be conservative, but if you say you're Republican, then you're likely a Trump supporter because they're taking over that party. Yeah, the Southern strategy is a good point. Correction from the audience. It wasn't Tommy Tuberville. It was Gene Chizik who won the national championship. Thank you. And I gotta love the "well actually" part there. Oh my God, much appreciated, man. Thank you so much for that. Oh my God. Oof. I don't know what to do. It's really unfortunate how that side of the aisle plays very fast and loose with racism, right? Like I remember when I was young, David Duke ran for governor. He ran as a Republican for a reason, right? It's really unfortunate with where we are today. All right.
So one other thing before we leave here. So you need to keep having Jacob back, or he might have to be a guest on the podcast. So he pointed out this Lee Atwater and the Southern strategy. That was crazy. And
yeah, we had a
I didn't know there was like a term for it. Yeah, we did. I don't know if we mentioned this by name, but we kind of talked about just the strategy for how they're able to win the vote. You know what I mean? And again, this is just something that's literally, I mean, strategies are crazy where, times change or whatever. We say we're trying to get more modern, but, you start off at one point, you can say the N-word like all they wanted. Then it's like, hey, you can't do that anymore. That'll get you, hey, that's a bad look. You find another way to say it without saying it. So you go from saying something like using the word thug or hood to talk about the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You
People
look
always
at
try to hide their racism. They will hide behind their
yeah.
racism anywhere. And they will use the most noble of terms sometimes to try to hide their underlying meaning. So the Southern strategy that Jay was talking about mainly was just saying, states' rights, right? Like it should be states' rights. And that's essentially letting the states be able to manage how they dealt with race, right?
Yes.
Pretty much states' rights became segregation, right? So that's the Southern strategy. We have a whole, man, I wish I could link it right now. I don't feel like looking, but we have a whole podcast on that. And it's essentially explains why black people tend to vote Democrat, right?
Absolutely.
When they used to vote Republican. So that's actually on. Check out the Targeted podcast. It's one that I don't know. I don't remember which episode it was on, but
I think
it was recent.
that's our highest viewed episode. It's the one where we were talking about all the voting laws and everything, right?
Oh yeah, why black people vote Democrat, white people or white evangelicals vote Republican, and there's a reason for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. What else we got on the docket today? I feel like I'm missing something.
We got to talk about Columbus Day because I know we talk about this every year, right? But you sent me that video. I bet you can't play that one either, can you?
I didn't upload it. I got to do pre-work. To play videos, I got to do pre-work.
Yeah. No, but like I feel like we cover this every year, but obviously, like Columbus Day, you get a day off. We're continuing to celebrate someone who shouldn't be celebrated at all, right? And I try to. I refuse to call it that. I usually refer to it as Indigenous Peoples Day,
my day off,
or something along those lines, right? But he sent me this story on from Instagram, and it was basically showing how, and this resonated with me obviously because I have kids who are in school now, and this kid, goes up to the front of the class, and it's basically talking about how, it's talking about the supposed heroes that which they still have us reading about and supporting and singing songs about in 1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue, yada, yada, yada. But when you go back and you look at the actual history, you find that this dude was not a hero. But then the story makes you question, and you're doing it from the perspective of someone who's in the audience of a young man, as a young man talks about Christopher Columbus. And it's like, and it, makes a couple of quick points. Obviously, it's a story or whatever about like the actual history of what Christopher Columbus did. And it's like, dude, we're still celebrating this guy. We're still making a big deal out of this dude. You know what I mean? Like it's still, and that's just another part of that argument about what we're teaching in school. And if you've been watching this podcast at all, you already know like that's a big deal to me because, for one, I like history, but for two, now that my kids are in school, I want them to learn like the real history, not this, PG rated, whitewash version that they're trying to get into school now, and saying that it's the fair version and this isn't, we shouldn't be teaching kids that they're bad. No, you're not teaching kids that they're bad because they're white. You're teaching kids that a long time ago, people did evil shit and it's wrong. And being white, black, whatever, you need to know your history as a white person. You need to see how people were thinking back then and take a look at yourself and see what you can do to change that for the future. Yeah. But you need to know the truth about what happened, about how these people were systematically eradicated the moment that Europeans touched, ground on these lands. So,
yeah, absolutely. We had a whole episode on that. You actually just hit up a couple episodes that we talked about. We talked about the Southern Strategy episode. I don't mind revisiting this again, right, and seeing how it's effect of us today, right? Mm-hmm. The Southern Strategy we talked about. I think we talked about Columbus Day before, on how he he wasn't liked by Italy. He was chased out of Italy, went to Spain. Spain was doing really well. He funded his voyage to India on the other side of the world, right? Um, and the dramatization of this, of making him a hero, was actually done by a fictional um, artist. I haven't done my research. I've done my research on this, but the names are eluding me right now. I don't have my notes
Yeah.
in front of me. But it wasn't until immigration started happening in the 20s and the Irish were like being heavily persecuted. I think Irish and Italians, or mainly it's Irish, but they're being heavily persecuted. So they used this guy. I said, "Hey, look, don't persecute us." Right? This guy helped discover America, and that's why
Yeah.
we celebrate Columbus Day for one of the dumbest reasons.
But what's sad is that people are in an uproar because they feel like we're trying to drill certain things into the kids' heads now and make them think a certain way and indoctrinate them. That's the term they like to use.
Yeah.
But that's already been happening. It's just that
Yeah,
it was
that's happening now.
happening on the other side, right? You're learning to celebrate these people who shouldn't really be celebrated, but you celebrate them all through your schooling. Not only do you celebrate them, but you hear the same stories over and over and over again throughout your schooling.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't hear anything else except for 1492, Columbus, Plymouth Rock. Oh, our founding fathers. They're so amazing. Well, maybe they're not.
No.
You know
Nobody's amazing. Teach them that they're human, right? That they made mistakes.
Yeah.
And some people are much worse than others, like Columbus kicking off like the slave trade, essentially. So, yeah, it's super just unfortunate that we are doing that to each other. But what are you gonna do? All right. Want to hit up some of that Alan Moore thoughts on comic books?
Yeah. So I don't know if you read
Final
the article
topic.
or not, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't think I've finished reading the article. By the way, guys, we're doing a huge pivot right now. So
yeah, definitely a random shift. We were hard on race and stuff for a lot of this episode, but this is a little bit lighter, but it's still kind of a serious topic because Stu was using the word fascism in his remarks on comic books. But essentially, like Alan Moore, if you're not familiar with him, he is the author of Watchmen, which was made into a movie by the great Zack Snyder.
You did a great.
I thought you would like that. He also wrote.
That was good.
He also wrote The Killing Joke, which they turned into an animated movie not too long ago. They took some liberties with that movie, not quite as good as the book, but that's being nitpicky. But essentially, like he's basically come out and said, like I'm done with the comic industry, and just like a lot of these other filmmakers, he's out there like hating on comic book movies, and basically saying, that they've kind of ruined film. And then he went on to say that he has excuse me, some comments on how he found it interesting that adults are the ones who are tuning into these movies now, and he felt like that could be the start of some fascist thinking, or sowing the seeds of some fascist thinking, into our society.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of blown away. I mean, this guy the comments really made me think, because I was like, I never even considered it to be that serious. I totally disagree with him about how superhero movies have supposedly ruined Hollywood and film and stuff like that. I mean, this is just the hot genre right now. Just like back in the day, in the 50s and 60s, my parents were it was westerns. Like everybody was making a western. I hated westerns growing up because my parents watched them so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you think that these superhero movies could lead to, or sowing the seeds for a fascist shift in our society? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. You would think if it sowed the seeds to anything, it will be sowed to anarchy, right? like people out there doing what they want to do, right? There are a bunch of like local superheroes in Seattle. They call themselves like the Raintown Watchers, whatever. One of the guys' names is Phoenix
Heard
Jones.
of them.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it'll be leading to more like copycats like that? I think there's a lot. This is really telling because Alan Moore is essentially was a comic book like individual, right? Writing these stories, The Killing Joke and The Watchmen, right? Maybe he felt that they weren't accurate representations of his work. Um, I don't think the MCU or these superhero movies are turning us into fascists. I do think it's affecting us though, right? I do think it kind of
I think you have like
perpetuates.
a hero worship
Yeah,
thing where
the
we're
hero
looking for
worship thing is a
heroes.
problem, right?
Yeah. Because
And they
Trump came in
perpetuate.
as trying to make himself into a hero. Hey, I'm here to save you.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, no, absolutely. So this, dude.
So there was
Yeah.
so when he said fascist, it made me think
Yeah.
of the Injustice video game and comic book line where
Mhm.
Superman is tricked into killing Lois Lane, who's pregnant with his child, and it turns him into this fascist dictator. Right? But again, you have to do something like crazy to make it into all that, right? I mean, this is just
Yeah.
fun. What I also
Yeah.
found interesting though is that he did point something out that was like, when comics started, it was something, it was like for, 5-year, 10-year, 12-year-old boys or whatever, right? And as the medium evolved and that audience grew up, so too did those stories. If you kind of notice, right? It's like
Yeah.
there was kid stuff all the way up until a certain point. I think in the 80s things got like a little bit darker. Maybe
Yeah.
70s, late 70s, 80s, right? Especially with 1989's Batman movie. But things got a little bit darker. It was like the audience for comic books grew up, and so the stories had to grow up with them too, right? They're
Yeah.
still kiddie comics, but some of those big time heroes or whatever, they've had to grow and evolve as the audience grew and evolved. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I definitely
Yeah.
wouldn't want to read the same stories that I was reading back when I first started reading comic books. Like if you read a comic book right now, if you read the first couple issues of Spider-Man, it's kind of corny,
Yeah.
right?
Kinda.
But the stories had to evolve a little bit. I
Yeah.
just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I want to read a little. I brought up the article. I thought the last passage was pretty interesting, so I'm just going to read it out loud. In October 2020 interview, Moore revealed that he had not seen a superhero movie since Tim Burton's Batman in 1989. Right.
Hmm.
He added, "I don't watch any of them. All of these characters have been stolen from their original creators. All of them. If you try to make them for the adult world, it I think it becomes kind of grotesque," is what he said. Um, wow, right?
Yeah, right.
Right. I mean, I don't know. He's an older man. Maybe he just sees things a certain way. I love cartoons as an adult. I don't think I'm a fascist. Oh my god, that's very
Yeah.
telling. That's very telling.
It sounds like somebody who just got sick and tired of their job or whatever, now just hates it in every
Yeah,
fiber of their being. I think we
yeah.
were there at one point.
I think there are a lot of old heads like that too. Martin Scorsese,
Yeah.
like pegged these movies as a roller coaster ride in a theme park, which makes sense. It kind of is, right? Especially if you go to a 40K theater, then it is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's just these guys that are a little bit older and just not with the times or whatever. I can totally see how comic book movies can kind of mess things up, especially for someone who, if you're in that kind of stuff. Like I've watched all the MCU movies, I've watched all the DC EU movies or whatever they were, right? Um, some people are gonna confuse it too. Like, yeah, Wonder Woman, she's in Captain Marvel, right? Like, just say something like that.
Yeah.
That happens, and I can get upset. I guess my whole point of this rambling, excuse me, is that yeah, he probably just feels like he's out of place, like with this, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
did seem to say that he felt like some of it was his fault because he was writing some of the darker stories too.
All right. Cool. All right. I think we're it. That's all our stuff. You want to hit up a little bit of, House of Dragon and She-Hulk? We're gonna talk about next time. She-Hulk should be in this week, actually.
Yeah.
House of Dragon's gotten good. We're gonna talk about this for a few minutes and then call it. But yeah, what do you think about House of the Dragon? Let's talk about that. Let's start there.
Dude. We turn it like after you watch that show, man. Sometimes I just turn it off. I just be sitting there like, wow, right? I'm just like, the things that they have people on there doing is just crazy.
Yeah,
I knew that. Damon and Rhaenyra were gonna, get together. But it was just like when they did, when they consummated that.
Oh, they consummated before they were officially married.
Yeah, I know. And I was just like, I knew it was going to happen, but when it did, I was just like, damn, ugh. And then I was like, well, whatchamacallit didn't mind either, right? So I guess it's the thing.
Yeah, let me tell you, Damon and Aemon, it looks like to be two good rivals right there. Aemon, the guy with the one eye patch.
Yeah.
And Damon, who was laughing at like the Valerian
the funeral. That was messed up.
We got to keep our lines pure. It's super important, right? Yeah. Damon is the Joker in that series. He just wants to see the whole thing burn. He's just for entertainment,
dude.
At this purpose.
Yeah.
There's no strategy with what he's doing.
And
or maybe there is. We don't know yet.
The patriarch for the Valerians, man. I forget his name. This dude is he's so off. His name is so important. His wife is trying to get him to understand. It's like,
that's his aunt. Oh no, sister-in-law.
Whatever it is.
No, the actual head of the household. I thought you were talking about of the last episode, the guy who got his head cut off.
No.
Spoiler alert, someone gets their head cut off.
No, but you remember when he was like sitting there and he was talking to his wife in front of the fireplace, and she was trying to get him to, I think, like marry off one of his daughters or something like that. And she was like, what's important is our bloodline lives on. He was like, history remembers names. It's like he didn't even care that those kids had nothing to do with his family. He just wanted to have his name. And he's like so stuck on that, man. Caused his downfall. It was crazy.
Yeah. It did kind of cause his downfall. We shall see how it goes in the next couple of episodes. I'm liking House of the Dragon. It's very well written, and one of the things I like about it too is that there's a lot. I think most of their directors, or maybe all of their directors, were women directors, right? I don't know if you watch the end, like after the credits of House of the Dragon, but it shows the director and kind of shows their perspective and what they want.
Yeah.
And yeah. Also, I want to put this a small one thing. Sir Vaemon Valerian, right? He's the one that was killed in the last episode. I'm happy to see they have some diversity going on in that series.
Yeah.
But I'm always just a little worried about it because I always never minded or never cared that Black people were in those type of medieval type movies, simply because they will probably get offed in the worst possible way. All right, kind of like in horror movies, right? Usually the black person dies first.
Yeah.
Right. Those type of.
Hey, but that was a nice twist because they thought they killed Rhaenyra's husband. Homie's still alive. Because when he was fighting in the
he's gonna make a scene.
Yeah.
He will come back.
Yeah. I was like, oh snap.
Probably complicating her consummation with Damon and those kids.
Yep.
Right? Because they're never gonna grow up to look like him. Right?
Obviously.
Yeah.
But you see how Damon works. Right. He just knew. He was like, yo. And they you can tell that they are better together though. Right? Because
they're better and stronger together.
Telling her why, hey, this is why you got to kill this person.
Yeah, and they also think alike too.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. One last thing. Was it Viserys Targaryen? Yeah. He he was doing his best to make things right. He made it worse when um he made his daughter next in line, right?
Yeah.
But dude tried to set things right and then gets messed up by like his wife because like he tells his wife thinking that it was his daughter Ania,
Yeah.
which is just hilarious. But yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we got. You good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Love seeing y'all's comments. They're good. We'll put them up and have a good laugh. So
Oh yeah.
again, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, Twitch, which you don't really use that much. But yeah, we'll stop procrastinating and get that going. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Peace out.